Haribol. So we will start our katha. First, we will read a verse from Bhagavad Gita as requested by our volunteers from Krishna Balaram Ashram. Sri Krishna Balaram ki jai, Sri Radha Shama Sundar ki jai, Sri Gornitai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay. So first, we should chant Om Namo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Unmute your mic so you can respond. Krishna Balaram Ashram.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay. Reading from.
Vasudevaya.
So since you posted this verse on the flyer, so I chose this verse also. Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, text 9. Okay? Do you have your copy? Can you open on chapter 10, verse 9? Everyone? You got it? Huh? You
Anong
find the
text po?
verse? Chapter 10, text 9. Yung nasa flyer. Okay?
Okay.
Did you find?
Okay.
Okay, because you have to respond. I
Yes,
will read
Prabhu.
the script, okay? So I will read the first line of the Sanskrit verse, then you have to respond in unison, okay? In this way, you will also learn how to read Sanskrit somehow. So I don't know if we can properly pronounce it, but we are just trying. Okay? Matchita madgata prana.
Matchita
Madgata
Madgata
Prana.
Prana.
Odayantaha parasparam.
Bodhayanta
Bodhayanta
Parasparam.
Pathayantascha mam nityam.
Pathayantas Mam Nityam.
Tusyanti cha ramanti cha.
Tusyanti Charamanti Cha.
Matchita madgata prana.
Matchita Madgata Prana.
Odayantaha parasparam.
Bodhayanta Parasparam.
Pathayantascha mam nityam.
Pathayantas Mam Nityam.
Yanti cha ramanti cha.
Tusyanti Charamanti Cha.
Okay, it should be 3 times, but we're just going to reduce it so we won't consume enough time, enough time to discuss because we only have 1 hour. Okay, now word for word meaning. Machita. You have to repeat.
Matchita.
Their minds fully engaged in me.
Their minds fully engaged in me.
Mat gata pranaha.
Matgata Pranaha.
Pranaha.
Their lives devoted to me.
Their lives
Lives
Devoted to
devoted to
me.
me.
Bodayantaha.
Bodhayantaha.
Preaching.
Preaching.
Parasparam.
Parasparam.
Among themselves.
among themselves.
Katayantaha,
Katayantaha,
talking.
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 Cha,
Cha,
also.
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 Ma'am,
Ma'am,
Mom.
about me.
about
About
me.
me.
Nityam,
Nityam,
perpetually.
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 Dusyanti,
Dusyanti,
become pleased.
become
Become
please.
please.
Cha,
Cha,
Ramanti,
Also. Ramanti.
Ramanti,
enjoy transcendental bliss.
Enjoy
enjoy
transcendental
transcendental
bliss.
bliss.
Okay, and Cha also.
Cha.
Okay, translate.
Also.
Also.
And purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Yay!
Okay, can someone please read the translation? Please
The,
read
the
translation.
thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me.
Okay. So actually the meaning of katha, Prabhupada gave the meaning bodhayanta. He gave the meaning bodhayanta preaching, no? But here in translation, conversing about me. So it's like that, about talking about Krishna. Okay, purport. So pure devotees whose characteristics are mentioned here engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord or Krishna. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing him with other devotees. Okay, we'll try to discuss paragraph by paragraph. So in this verse, Krishna mentioned the characteristic or behavior of his devotees or his pure devotees. So these characteristics is like a very rare behavior or attributes of a certain person or of a certain devotee. So here it is uh, specifically mentioned that we are talking about not just a devotee. Huh? So the purport talks about pure devotees. Huh? So Prabhupada is giving us a idea or hint how we can identify pure devotees. What are their activities? What are their behaviors? What are their attributes? So here it is described that they are always what? They are always engaged in devotional service 24 hours a day. So if we are trying to comprehend this purport, it means that we are far from being categorized as one of those devotees, because our our activities are not really engaged 24 hours a day. So how is it possible that there are some people or some devotees who are described as pure devotees? So if we read the activities or if we read the stories or the in the Krishna book, we could understand that these particular devotees or pure devotees that we are talking about, it talks about the what? The residents of Vrindavan or the Brajavasis, like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda, Maya, the cover boys, and the cohort girls. So they were described in this purport because the residents of Braj or the Brajavasis, their minds and activities are always engaged in thinking about Krishna, in talking about Krishna, in singing about the glories of Krishna. So 24 hours a day, yes, it is possible. If you can see, it looks like it's like a strange description, no? Because how is it possible that we could be engaged ourselves in Krishna consciousness for 24 hours a day? We have to sleep, we have to work. If we are studying, we have to study. So we have to focus on other things. So it's not possible for us. So here, actually, it talks about the characteristics, no, and activities of those devotees or those residents of Braj. And of course, not just not just those devotees who lives in the time of during the time of Krishna's era, but after that there are also other devotees that could be fall onto into this categorization of pure devotees, like the six Goswamis, no, and the Acharyas. So it means the our acharyas or those who are in the line of disciplic succession, they are also could be considered as pure devotees, especially the six Goswamis or the Goswamis of Vrindavan. If you read the lives of the six Goswamis, like Sila Rupa Goswami, Sartan Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, and Gopal Bhatt Goswami. So in in the glorification of the six Goswamis, you can see that the six Goswamis, they always converse with each other and they talk about devotional service. They talk about the pastimes of Krishna. They talk about how to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or how to spread the glories of Krishna consciousness. So in our modern age, pure devotees still exist, no? Through the examples of the six Goswamis. So the six Goswamis and other Goswamis, no, of the followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are also uh, categorized as pure devotees of the Supreme Lord because they always engage in in conversing themselves how to spread the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why, because we are in a preaching mission, this is an encouragement from Srila Prabhupada. That's why he he gave the meaning Bodayantaha as preaching. Huh? Okay, so it means that we always try to share, the glories of Krishna consciousness. Not necessarily that we go out every day or like what, no, because preaching, when we our conception about preaching, it means that you go outside with books, you go for harinam, but not it's not always possible for us who are not not living in the temple as full-time devotees. Most of us are outside temple devotees. We don't live in the temple. So it means that preaching means that we try our best to talk about Krishna consciousness, how we could continue our activities in the so we could continue our association with other devotees. So, so we can talk about Krishna with our friends, with our family members, or whoever we could meet along our way, or just try to open up and always try to bring up about something about Krishna. So the Brajavasis, no, like the gopis and the gopas, they always think about Krishna. They always think about the welfare of Krishna, especially the elders of Braj. They are always planning how to protect Krishna, how to make Krishna happy. Yes, Mother Yashoda, she is always planning what what she would prepare for Krishna when Krishna goes for the cow grazing. Mother Yashoda, she would always think about the safety of her son because Krishna was away in the forest. So she was absorbed for the whole day until Krishna returns from grazing the cows. So and the gopis in the morning they would wait for Krishna in the rooftops of their houses because they couldn't glance at Krishna directly because their elders would chastise them, and it's not they are trying to follow the social etiquette, so they will just have like a that's why we always read sidelong glances, no, so they have to find a way how to pick or how to have a glance of Krishna by indirectly, so their elders or their parents would not recognize them. Huh? So in this way, they are going. They go to that rooftop, and in that on the rooftop, they would try to have a glance of Krishna. And when Krishna disappeared in the jungle or in the forest, the gopis they will start conversing with each other about the activities of Krishna. So they will always try to remember Krishna's childhood pastimes. So in Braj, in Vrindavan, Krishna performed so many pastimes. So in Krishna book, it's only like the prominent pastime of Krishna. So it, the demons that Krishna were killed, it's it's so minimal in Krishna book, but actually Krishna was killing like hundreds of demons every day. Huh? So in our book, Prabhupada had just mentioned a few demons, huh? But in some books of the Acharyas, it was mentioned that Krishna is being disturbed by so many demons. He was killing hundreds of demons every day. So and the gopis they wouldn't run out of Krishna's activities, especially the covered boys who are the witness of Krishna's activities killing the demons. So they would always talk about it. So after coming from cow grazing, Krishna had killed the demons. They were with Krishna during the cow grazing, cow herding, forest. Then along their way, going back to their houses, they would talk about how Krishna had killed that demon, how Krishna had killed that demon. So they will always converse until they reach their home. In their houses, they would tell their story with their parents, how Krishna did so many wonderful acts on that day. And, and in this way, they wouldn't run out or there is no a single moment that they wouldn't think of Krishna or they wouldn't talk about Krishna. So this is the meaning of pure devotion, that they always converse about Krishna. Okay, so let's continue. Can some please read the next paragraph?
In the preliminary stage, in the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure for the service itself, and in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in the transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection, which is exhibited by the Lord in His abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe, and out of them there are few of who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee. and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed, and if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if he goes on hearing and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the seed fructifies just as the seed of the tree fructifies with the regular watering. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahma Yotir effulgence in the spiritual sky. The spiritual sky also that the plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavana, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there.
Okay, up there. Okay, so you see, it is mentioned that there are innumerable living entities. It means like unlimited living entities. Then, out of them, there are a few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee. So, so this is the rarity of meeting a pure devotee, because in this age there is a scarcity. There is a scarcity of finding a real devotee. Means pure devotee. So, but so we are so fortunate that Srila Prabhupada came to the West, and we got a chance to indirectly, although we did not meet him in person, but through his books, through his society, through his disciples. So we got a chance to be associated with him. So this is the position. That's why we give so much respect and reverential and worship to the devotees of Krishna, who are pure devotees of Krishna, because they are very rare in this age. So to be associated or to be in the line of those who are pure, those who are following pure devotional service is our advantage, that we are given we had been given a chance to be associated or to understand these complexities of pure devotional service. So you can see that the ultimate goal is to, it is described that this bhakti is like it's like a seed. So we are the moment that we met a pure devotee, that is the time that this devotee had planted a seed in our heart, the seed of bhakti. Uh, so the seed was already there in our heart. So it just need to be taken care of well in order for it to fructify. So everyone has a chance, you know, to to be engaged in devotional service. So it means that no matter how slow our pace, it doesn't matter. As long as we are trying to take care of that seed, then one day it will fructify. So how do we take care of that seed of bhakti, that bhakti lata beads? So they call it the seed of devotional service. So it's like comparing to a seed. So when a gardener, when he planted that seed, he buried it in the ground. So in order for it to grow and fructify, he has to take care of it by watering the ground and making the soil fertile, and and other things. in order for the seed to grow properly. So in the same way, this seed of bhakti that was planted within our hearts by a pure devotee, it means the moment that we met the followers of Srila Prabhupada, the moment that we read the books of Srila Prabhupada, the seed had already been planted. No? Sometimes we don't recognize it, sometimes we don't notice it. But the moment you see a pure devotee that has visited our ashram or that visited the temple, so that is the time that the seed of bhakti has been planted. So now it's up to us how we wanted to how we want the seed of bhakti to grow rapidly or slowly. So it it's all up to us. So we have to take care of it. So how do we take care of that? So watering means that it is mentioned here what on the chanting. That is the first thing, no? And if it is sown in the heart of a living entity, and if it goes on hearing and chanting, so it means by you have to take care of that seed by hearing and chanting. Chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra and hearing of the what? Hearing is means hearing Krishna Katha. Huh? Stories about Krishna. So this will help, this will help the seed of bhakti grow. So that is how we take care of the bhakti. Then in the end, when this bhakti grow, it will become mature, then it will fructify. So it takes time. It takes time. We don't have to rush ourselves. So according to our pace, according to our attitude, according to our desire, our bhakti will grow accordingly. Because not everyone have the same pace of devotional life. We all have different. Okay, somebody wanted to speak up. Kavi Karnapura does. Okay, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, it's a question. I want to ask question.
Kuya Kavi is here.
I want to ask question, Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Yeah, you just mentioned now that about the seed, and we don't need to rush ourselves. We have to go at our own pace. So
Yes.
I remember in the early days of ISKCON, everything was in rush. Like everybody's going back home, back to Godhead tomorrow. Everybody wants to go back home, back to Godhead tomorrow. In the early days. But now it's like some devotees, after so many years, they've seen, oh my God, it's not very easy. Then everybody started slowing down. So now you're saying
Yeah.
that we don't need to rush. And so what is the chance that if we don't be in that mood of rushing, what is the chance that we will not become complacent and take everything cheaply?
Okay. I mean, when I said that we don't have to rush, it means that we don't force ourselves. No, we don't do things prematurely. No, because in the beginning, like what you have said, like when we entered in the temple, when we surrendered, immediately we wanted to do everything. No, like we wanted immediately to become a pure devotee, but it's not like that. Huh? So we don't have to to apply the practice or process in artificial way, because devotional service should be natural, should be spontaneous, because we have been conditioned for so many years, so many lifetimes. So when we try to rush ourselves, later on, because of our habits, no, because of our conditioning, the our old attitude, no, it's because it's like suppressing ourselves. That's why later on it will come out. It's like a balloon that you are trying to insert an air, but when the time that the balloon couldn't hold on to the air, it will explode. So the same thing, our devotional life is like that. If we are trying to rush ourselves, then if because of our conditioning, at a time will come that we couldn't hold on because we are just like overwhelmed. It's like we are just hyped because for so many years we are searching for something, and now the alternative has been uncovered in front of us when we got initial introduction to the back to devotional life. We are like there's so much excitement. We are hyped that we finally found something, but because we wanted to rush, we wanted to do everything prematurely, then we, what would happen to us? That we will again fall back to our old habits because of our conditioning. That's why the six Goswamis mentioned that we have uh, gradually practice devotional service. Don't try to rush. Don't try to artificially adapt everything. Okay,
Thank you, Prabhu.
that is the result. But it's not really a negative phenomena that somebody fall back from the practice. So it's normal, it's natural. So we have to understand that devotional life, uh, there it's like a marathon. There will always be like a fallback. You have you will fell down. You will strip on the ground. Like that. So you don't have to be worried about it. It's natural. All you have to do is just continue. You find a network of support that will help you. Uh, that's why association is so important, like a positive association. No? The people that would not condemn you once you fall back from your practice. The people that will not excommunicate you. No? So we need to understand that each individual have their different pace of advancement. So we don't have to impose our standard of practices to other individuals because we all have different pace that we are trying to walk on our own path. So everyone have their own different devotional uh, practices. So imposing our own standard with other practitioner is won't make any positive impact to that practitioner. So we shouldn't condemn or judge other people according to their level of practices. So it is important to have a support group that would help each other because this is the real meaning of association. We associate with each other to live, to lift each other, not to pull others down. So this is the idea of the six Goswamis about association. The six Goswamis they associate with each other to lift themselves up. Huh? The associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu they gather together, they held festival, not to condemn each other that this devotee he did like this, this devotee, this group are like this. No, they are associating with each other. They are organizing festival not for that reason, but to increase the devotional energy, in order to uplift them, to inspire them. So this should be our role. So preaching means not just we talk and talk and talk. Preaching means to inspire others, to give them, uh, to boost them, to uplift their energy, increase the consciousness, not to undermine them, not to belittle them. The same thing with not just with your or with your co-devotees. The same thing with those who are in other faith, those who are we call non-believers or non-devotees. Actually, we shouldn't call them materialistic or karmics. That is the derogatory term. Though Prabhupada had as use this term, but for us, we shouldn't use that because it's derogatory. It's like divisive. So we are here. So instead of inspiring them, it would make them stay away from us if we keep on trying to undermine them or belittle them. So so we should be like an inspiration to others. Okay, so let us continue the purport. We have to finish the purport, then we will have a little kata before we wrap it up. So where are we now? Gradually. Okay, this personal service is fully described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila chapter 19. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God or Krishna Prem. Then we cannot live even for a moment. So who are these devotees? These are the Brajavasis, the gopis, the cover boys, Yashoda, Maya, and Nanda Maharaj. Without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So this is the purpose of Bhagavatam and other books. It gives us inspiration about the lives of the pure devotees of Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavatam itself. Canto 12, chapter 13, text 18. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaisnavanam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and a girl take pleasure in agitation. So, the purpose of the scriptures, especially Srimad Bhagavatam, is to give us continual pleasure in hearing. When we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we are talking to Krishna. But when we read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, we are hearing from Krishna. So chanting and hearing is very important. So Sravaram Kirtan, that's why the number one process in 9 process of devotional service is what? Sravanam, before Kirtanam. Sravanam means hear. So first you have to hear. You have to hear. We see, we understand by hearing. How we hear? By reading. So when we read Bhagavad Gita, we are hearing from Krishna directly. So that is Sravanam. That is how we cultivate, how we guard and protect our seed of bhakti, by hearing. So we need to hear and hear. But now, because of the distractions in this modern age, we are engaged in hearing. Our sense of hearing, our ears are engaged in hearing, but not by Krishna Katha, not by Krishna stories. We are in so many things, like, no? gossips, humors, political issues, economical issues, no? So our sense of hearing had been diverted to other purposes, and in this way, we are neglecting to nourish our seed of bhakti. So if we want to our bhakti to grow continually, in order for us to have a perpetual, pleasure in hearing, so we need to hear Krishna stories. This is more. This is very. It's very basic. It's very easy. You can Krishna stories are available, everywhere, especially with the introduction of these, technologies. So it's only up to us what we would like to hear. So it's always depend on our attitude. But because we are conditioned, that's why we don't want to hear Krishna Katha. We want to hear the stories of our neighbors, of, of other people, of the famous, actor and actresses or celebrities. Sometimes, okay, Kabikarna Purna Prabhuji, you wanted to speak again. Okay, go on, go on. Speak.
Yes, Prabhu, I want to ask question. This question, not speaking.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. You were talking
If
about
you have a question, just raise your hand and no, you can ask question.
yes. So, like we are talking about, we listen hearing Krishna pastime. I remember the other day I was discussing with one devotee about the different Krishna pastime. Although we have five major rasas and seven secondary rasas, and so I was discussing with this devotee that sometime what we are looking for in this materialistic movie we watch. Sometime we watch. Some people like horror movie. Some people like action movie. Some people like comedy. Some people like
Yes,
all these things. The different kind of rasas we are looking for in all this movie. Actually, they are there in Krishna, in
yes,
different pastimes of Krishna. Like now you have a Rishingadev movie out, and many devotees you see Brahmachari going to cinema. They want to go and watch it because it's a Rishingadev action movie. You can see
yes.
that tendency to watch movie is still there in us. So my question is that although we have not reached to that level when we can derive pleasure like the Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, when they absorb in these pastimes of Krishna or movie of Krishna, sometimes they smile, sometimes they see new movies in their meditation. Although we have not reached that level, so how can we gradually develop that taste, even though we have attraction for the materialistic movie, like say action movie, horror movie? How can we develop taste for Krishna's uh, movies or pastimes in the Srimad Bhagavatam in a systematic way?
Okay. Yeah, it is good that the devotees are thinking way how we can utilize, our habit of watching movie. No, you can see there's like decades, more than maybe 10 years or 20 years ago, how they introduced this little Krishna in YouTube. No, so the YouTube is there now. Devotees were thinking how to utilize this platform. So in this way, those who are now expert in making animation, they find a way, how to how to channel this platform into Krishna consciousness. So they made animation of Krishna, little Krishna. Huh? So it benefited so many children, not just children, even adults, even us. So although we thought that this is like a cartoon movie, but unknowingly we are watching Krishna's pastime. No? We are reading Krishna's book. So it takes a little bit of reconditioning, no? in order to attract us, you know, and other people, how they could be somehow be attracted to the pastimes of Krishna consciousness by using these different platforms like these movies or cinema or YouTube or TikTok or FB Reels, whatever. So we can see, like in our social media, uh, we frequently see devotees, they are making different videos about Krishna. Kirtans are there, some inspirational talks are there, some Krishna stories are there, short. They try to summarize Krishna stories in a minute or second. You know, because nowadays the people are like lazy. They don't want to see like a long movie or long narration. They don't want to read. Nobody's reading nowadays. No, the books will become obsolete. They want to read on their phones. So now, some devotees were trying to utilize these things because they're already there. Now it's up. You cannot just ignore it because they are powerful medium. Huh? Social media is a powerful medium now. We have to conquer. We have to invade this social media thing, this platform, in order to spread Krishna consciousness. Huh? So gradually, people will become attracted. You see the introduction of Nrsimha Avatar. Some devotees who are great directors or animators, they made a movie and look what it's like a big phenomena here in India. Devotees they flock and they swarm the cinema. It became like a temple. They went to cinema. They leave their shoes and slippers. They are inside the cinema. They are chanting and doing kirtan. It was like a historical event here in India, and it even surpasses ordinary uh, Bollywood movies. They have they gain a lot of income and moviegoers. It's like a blockbuster. Huh? You see, so we can utilize everything. We can try to invade this different platform. Okay? So how we will develop that desire to listen to Krishna Katha? First, you associate with those who like to talk about Krishna's pastime. Huh? This is this is the this is the what trying to hold us back, no? Because in our society, we don't talk about much about Krishna Katha. We don't hear so much Harikatha. We always hear basic philosophical discussion. Because we have this mindset that this Harikatha, this Krishna Katha or Krishna Lila is only for the advanced devotees. But that is wrong. That is misconception. Huh? Everyone has. We should give everyone the opportunity. We should try to take advantage of Krishna's stories because this is so powerful. Krishna stories, Krishna Katha, if we are hearing Krishna Katha, it is so powerful. It is like uh, putting out extreme fertilizer, no, in your Bhaktilata beads. It's like multivitamins. Krishna Katha is so powerful. It's multivitamins. So if we don't hear, you must remember this. If we don't hear, we don't have the desire to hear Krishna Katha, what we will hear, because the desire to hear is there. The desire to hear is there. If we don't have the desire to hear Krishna Katha, then the desire to hear uh, your neighbor's katha, celebrity katha, you know, would enter in our ear. And from the ear, it would enter in our heart. That's why our heart, it will become poisoned and contaminated by what? Hatred, greed, envy, because we always hear from about our neighbor's success, about our neighbor's sinful activities. We always think about our neighbors, other people. Then we will absorb that kind of mentality. We will develop enviousness. We will develop greed and anger. So the desire to hear is there. Huh? So the first step is to associate with those people or those individuals who likes to give tata, who has the capacity to give stories of Krishna. Or you, the basic way is to try to read Krishna book. Huh? Okay. So we still have more time. If you have any question about the verse, I think, okay, somebody raised her hand. Rasarani.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, everyone. I just want to ask if, when reading or hearing about Krishna's stories or pastimes, uh, there is a boon. There is always a
Hmm?
boon. A
What?
boon. A
Boon.
boon.
Okay.
Or, you know.
That is like suggestion. Additional. That is your additional?
Yeah. Or is it true?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, that is true. In every Krishna stories, there is particular blessing, no? Like Krishna's killing the demons, no? I think some of you have an idea that each particular demon that Krishna had killed, it has a particular anartha. Anartha means like unwanted behavior or unwanted desire that is within our heart that is being gradually being healed, no? So Krishna Kata is like healing, self-healing. Huh? So it's so powerful. Unknowingly, we don't, in the beginning, initially, we don't recognize it. But if you continue hearing, later on, you will realize it. Okay, back to Errol. Thumbs up only. So thumbs up. Thumbs up, you know what is thumbs up? Thumbs up is like the version of 7 Up in India. Here we have thumbs up soft drinks. They call it thumbs up. Okay? Okay, good. Thumbs up. Anything else? You have addition? Question about the verse? So we try to keep it short. So we have enough time. I will give a little story. So I have mentioned uh, about how the Brajavasis, how the residents of Braj, they always talk about the welfare of Krishna. So since that we are here in Nandagaon, so there is one place here, they call it Nanda Baitak. So Nanda is the name of Krishna's father, Nanda Maharaj. And Baitak means sitting place, Baitak. So in this place, uh, in the afternoon, Nanda Maharaj, he is the leader, like he is the leader of the village. So they will all assemble in this area, in that particular place in Nanda Baitak. They will all gather there, and Nanda Maharaj, he would sit. Then they will talk. They would talk about the welfare of Krishna and Balaram. So every afternoon they will gather. They would gather around, and this conference is like a conference hall. So they would gather around just to talk about the welfare of Krishna and Balaram. So one time, so the elder villagers, after witnessing how Krishna had killed so many demons and how Krishna performed so many extraordinary superhuman activities, they came to the conclusion that Krishna is not an ordinary boy. Uh, because Krishna, for only 1 month, he had killed Putna or Putana. Then when he was 3 months old, he killed Sankatasura, the cart demon. Then when he was 1 year old, he killed Trinabarta. So they all witnessed these things, how Krishna killed these demons. So Krishna was just a little boy. He was just a baby. Then the the activities of pastime that finally disturbed their minds, the Brajavasi, They are being covered by Yoga Maya. They don't think that Krishna is Supreme Godhead. But there is one activity that finally, they couldn't take it anymore when they witnessed that when Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. So Krishna was only 7 years old, and he lifted the Govardhan hill for 7 days and 7 nights. Nights with his left hand on his little finger. So now, after this pastime, after this lila, they called for a meeting, grand meeting. So the elders, they gathered around. Then these elderly villagers, they talked to Nanda Maharaj, to Krishna's father. Nanda Baba, we have something to tell you about. You know, you should be careful how you treat your son. Also, Mother Yashoda, you should be careful because your son is not an ordinary boy. He must be a perfected yogi. He must attain perfection. Or he must be a demigod. Or he must be Narayan himself. Because he had performed so many extraordinary activities. He killed so many demons. He must be the supreme Godhead Narayan. So please don't be respectful. So always be respectful and reverential in treating your son, especially your wife, Mother Yashoda, because she always chastised Krishna. Sometimes she punished Krishna and tied him. Sometimes she let Krishna sleep in the night without having a meal. So it's not a proper way. It's not a proper etiquette. You might be offending Narayan or some demigod. Then Nanda Maharaj, he was thinking. He just when Nanda Maharaj heard these things about the description that his son was might be the supreme god and Narayan or some demigod. So Nanda Maharaj just laughed. He just laughed. Then the elders, the elderly villagers, they were surprised. Why are you laughing? Then Nanda Maharaj told them, if he is supreme godhead, how come that he is always hungry? He is never satisfied. We always feed him with enough food, but still he goes to the other house and steals some food. And when Mother Yashoda offered him sweets, when it's not too sweet for him, he will cry and ask for more sugar. Then he would also steal butter, yogurt. So how could Narayan be like this? He is not a thief. Narayan is not a thief. Narayan is not hungry. He is self-satisfied. Then, and if he is the supreme Godhead, how could he always steal and do some naughty acts? He always disturb our neighbors. He always disturb his playmates, the other coward boys and coward girls. So that is not a proper attitude or behavior of the supreme Godhead Narayan. How could it be? And this Krishna, our boy, he is afraid of Mother Yashoda. He is always crying. When Mother Yashoda show him some stick, he would cry. And he would come to me and ask for protection. And when Mother Yashoda scared him that there were monsters who are going to eat them, they ran. They ran so fast. And they were so frightened and afraid. So how could be Narayan? Then Nanda Maharaj, he laughed out so loud. And they roll on the ground. And all the villagers, when they heard this pastime that Krishna was running away from the monster, because Mother Yashoda trying to scare Krishna, that there were some monsters who are going to eat them alive. Uh, then Krishna just ran away in fear. And so when the villagers remembered this pastime, they also blurted out in laugh. They laughed so loud, laughed out so loud, and they roll on the ground in the dust of Braj. So in this way, they then they disregarded the idea that Krishna is the supreme Godhead. Okay? So this is the pattern that happened that had taken place in one of the Nilstanher, the Nanda Baitak. So the idea, so you can see the Brajabasis, they are covered with the spiritual potency, yoga maya potency. That's what that keep them the lila sweet. That's what the lila how the lila maintain the rasa, the relationship of being a parent, being a friend or lover because of this yoga maya potency of this yoga maya shakti that keeps them that covered their minds. So to keep the lila. Otherwise, if there is no yoga maya, they would all think that Krishna is supreme Godhead. So in Braj, everyone is being covered by the yoga maya. So they all thought that Krishna is just ordinary boy. So when they heard, so this is, you can see, the sweet pastime of Krishna, it overpowers the idea that Krishna is a supreme Godhead. That is Braj. So sometimes it the idea brushes, it just comes in the mind of the Brajabasis. But there is nothing to worry. They would immediately disregarded it. Because the pastime of Krishna is so sweet that it overcomes the idea that Krishna is Godhead. Okay? That wraps up our class for today for 1 hour. So we have 5 or 10 minutes for question and answer if you have additional. So should we try to do it regularly, like every Friday? Is it okay? If you like it, then it's fine. If you don't like, then it's also fine.
Beautiful, beautiful, Prabhu. Very beautiful.
Jai Ho.
So do you have any question about the verse or about the pastime? So it's just a short pastime.
Next time, Prabhu, you should give us more pastimes.
Huh?
Next
Yeah.
time, you should give us more pastimes.
Yes. So next time we will have more pastime.
Question, Prabhu.
So like a teaser, it's just experimentation. If you are favor or if you are favorable, then we can do it regularly.
So, Prabhu, so what happened is that let us plan for Kartik pastime every day of Kartik. We will in the evening we will have some Kartik Lila. So let us be preparing our mind. So you are going to be speaking on Kartik period for 1 month. Every evening we gather together and hear some pastimes of going to Vrindava Parikrama. Haribo!
Yes, we can do that. Especially important celebrations in Kartik, like the Diwali, like Govardhan Lila, Gopastami Lila, Radhakund, Bahulastami, the appearance of Radhakund. So there are so many things that happens during Kartik. So all pastimes, it happened during Kartik time. A lot of things that a lot of Krishna's pastime, it